Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to Uswa Students Guide YouTube channel. Dear students, it's my next lecture. In this lecture, I will explain about the remaining parts of a computer. Now, let's come to our next lecture. These are the parts of computer system. A complete computer system consists of 4 parts. There are 4 basic parts. Number 1 hardware, number 2 software, number 3 data, number 4 user. Now I would like to explain about all these topics, all these parts. Number 1 hardware. The mechanical device that make up the computer is called hardware. Hardware is any part of a computer you touch. It means we can say that the touchable part of a computer is known as computer hardware. Software. Software is set of instructions that make the computer perform tasks. The term program refer to any piece of software. It is non-touchable part of computer, and hardware runs the software and software runs the hardware. It means both are essential for each other. We can say that when we have hardware and there is no software, we cannot run the computer. We need software to run that hardware. Software are the instructions, codes, set of instructions, programs that are used to run these hardwares. Data consists of individual facts of piece of information that by themselves may not make such sense to person. Tiny pieces of data in the various form is actually the useful information. Tiny pieces means we are divide, or we can say that we have to divide all the instructions into small pieces. These instructions or pieces are called data. Data is a collection of raw fact or raw materials, which is the collection of raw data is known as data. User. Now, what is user? People are computer operators, also known as user. The person who is using the computer is known as computer user. The computer is totally autonomous. The information processing cycle. Now in this topic, in this part, I will explain what is the information processing cycle. Computer convert data into information by performing various actions. There are a lot of actions when the data is converted into the information. Now I would like to explain what is information. You know, dear student, data is the collection of raw fact or raw material. Whenever we collect this data and change it into meaningful form is known as information. During the performing the mathematical operation, one on the two numbers that display the result, this is called information processing cycle. During the performing the mathematical operation, it means when you perform a mathematical operation on two numbers, between two numbers, then whenever you get the result or you get the answer, this is known as your information. Information processing cycle has the 4 parts. Now we are explaining about information processing cycle. There are 4 parts. Number 1 input, processing, output, storage. Input. What is input? Input means the data we have to enter or we are entering into the computer. Processing, the result of input, the processing on that input, the working on that input is known as processing. Output, the result of processing is known as output. Whenever you got the result is known as output, and this output can be stored in the computer as a storage. Essential computer hardware. There are 4 categories. A computer hardware devices fall into one of 4 categories: processor, memory, input and output, and storage. Processor, memory, input, output and storage. Number one is processor. Processing device. The processor means to work on some task. The processor is like the brain of the computer. It organizes and carries out instructions that come from either the user or software. The processor usually consists of one or more specialized chip called microprocessor. These are one chip or more than one chips. The microprocessor is plugged into the computer motherboard. Motherboard is an example of circuit board. Many internal devices like sound card, video card, disk, controller are attached to the motherboard. These are all devices are attached to the motherboard. They help in the processing. Memory device. Memory it is a storage capacity in a computer. Memory is one of the more set of chips that store data and program instruction either temporarily or permanently. There are two types of memories. One is temporary and other is permanently. Random access memory or RAM. The most common type of memory is called random access memory. RAM is like an electronic scratch pad inside the computer. RAM holds data and program instruction while the CPU works with them. When the CPU works, it holds the data and help out the CPU. RAM holds data and program instructions while the CPU works with them. When the program is launched, it is loaded into and run from memory. RAM is also called read or write memory. RAM is made up of set of chips around on a small circuit board. RAM is also volatile. Volatile means it loses contents when the computer is shut down. It is not permanent memory. Read-only memory ROM. It is permanent memory. Unlike RAM, read-only memory permanent stores its data even when the computer is off. RAM is called non-volatile memory because it never lost its content. ROM hold instructions the computer needs to operate. Input and output devices. There are two types of devices. One are input and other are output. Input devices accept data and instruction from the user or from another computer. Output devices return the processed data to the user or another system. The most common input device is the keyboard, which accepts letter, number and commands from the user. Another type is mouse. Second type of input device is mouse. Example of input devices. There are lot of examples. Basic examples are trackball or the touchpad, joystick, scanner, digital camera, microphone. The function of an output device is to process data to the user. The most common type of output devices are monitor and the printer. Monitor shows the output in the form of non-touchable and or in the form of soft copy, and printer shows the output in the form of hard copy, which is touchable. Storage devices. The purpose of storage is to hold data permanently even when the computer is turned off. Whenever we use a computer, we need some devices that will store our processed data, because this is essential, because whenever we work on some data, we need some place or some space to store that data. Storage is an electronic file cabinet and RAM is an electronic work table. When you work with a program or set of data, the computer locates it in the file cabinet and puts on a copy on a table. When you work with the computer or set of data, it's mean whenever we are working on some data, then the computer locate in it the file cabinet and put a copy on the table. What is storage and memory? There are three major distinctions between storage and memory. Number one is there is more room in the storage than a memory. The contents are retained in the storage but not in memory. Storage device operate much slower than the memory chip. Two types of storage: magnetic storage and the optical storage. There are two types. One is magnetic storage and other is optical storage. Magnetic storage. There are many types of computer storage, but the most common is magnetic disk. A disk is round, flat object that spins around its center. Optical storage. Every computer sold today includes at the last one form of optical storage. Devices that use lasers to read data from or write data to reflective surfaces of an optical disc. CD-ROM drive is the most common type of optical storage device. An increasingly popular data storage technology is the digital video disc DVD. Thank you very much, dear student. Please subscribe our channel Uswa Students Guide so that you can get the more lecture about all your subjects. Thank you.